Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, welcome to Love Your Body, Love Your Life. My name is Jenna. I'm the host of today's show. I'm also the author of the book titled Love Your Body, Love Your Life, 52 Tips That Will Radically Change Your Health. You can find my book on Amazon and on barnesandnoble.com. There's also a Kindle version, so if you guys want to check that out. Welcome to the show. I'm always happy and excited to be here live. Haven't been live in 2-3 weeks, but I'm continuing this conversation of self-care, wellness, listening to the body's needs. The last show I did was around the same thing. I gave 8 self-care tips. Today I'm talking about weight loss because I figured springtime is almost here, and a lot of people like to do spring cleaning, and I think that weight loss is in line with spring cleaning. So I think we have a little bit of a delay on the video, so that's kind of a bummer. I'm sorry. I hope you guys are listening to the audio. I'm going to keep going, and if it gets worse, then we can just cut it and reschedule this. So I apologize if you're looking at the video live and there's a little bit of a delay. I'm not sure why, but I'll just continue. As always, I welcome questions, comments, you guys. Like I said, I'll be talking about 10 weight loss tips today. And I'm always really open about like my journey around a lot of things. Last year on the show, I opened up around relationship, and today I'm going to share some personal stories around weight loss and dieting and everything. I was thinking about this show, and I was thinking about my journey around all the diets that I've been on. And so give me 1 second. Things look okay. Just maybe 3 seconds. I don't really know what that means, but hopefully it will continue to
There's
get
a
better.
3-second delay in audio and video.
There's a 3-second delay on the audio and the video. So just FYI, you guys, again, I apologize for that. Okay. Anyways, show must go on. So I wanted to just share, I've been on so many diets in my past. Like I was thinking about this show and what I was going to talk about. And I was thinking about in my early 20s, I was renting this room, and the woman that I was renting from, she was much older than me. And we decided we were going to go on this egg diet. I was thinking about that time, just preparing for the show, because we're talking about weight loss. And I don't even know what I was thinking, to be honest. I had no weight to lose. I was like in my early 20s, I was working a lot, but she was much older. And so I think she maybe wanted to lose weight, but we teamed up together. And in my mind, I thought I had weight to lose. So we went on this egg diet. And it's kind of funny to think back. Like I was having eggs for breakfast, eggs for lunch, eggs for dinner. I remember like trying to like mix it up. Hard-boiled eggs for breakfast, scrambled eggs for lunch. And I don't know what I did for dinner. I mean, but it was just this crazy diet that I was on called the egg diet. And you paired it up with this like tomato soup and like a piece of toast. So that was one of the crazy diets that I was on. And then I tried the zone diet, and then I've tried high protein. I've opened up and I've talked about my raw food journey. Then I went to veganism, then vegetarian. And it's just been wild. It's been wild how many things I've tried for weight loss. And so my point is that hopefully we can talk in my conversation today. I can hopefully get through to some of you to just make it a lifestyle, because I can tell you right now that today I am definitely not on a diet. I've done so much of that. I just feel like it's just exhausting. Um, so I'm definitely not on a diet today. I believe in lifestyle and whole food choices. And I'm going to get into the 10 tips around natural weight loss if that's what you guys are looking for. Obviously, listen to your body and what it needs. But so, yeah, we're going to get into those tips, and I will get to the question. So, just bear with me here. This whole delay just totally throws me off. So yeah, so I've gone through so many different phases around dieting, and then so I've modeled a lot throughout my years. And on my Z card, when I was with an agency and I was modeling a lot more, on my Z card, I had 110 pounds. And in my mind, so the Z card, just so you guys know, is where you have your like 3 or 4 photos of yourself, your face, your body, you have your measurements, you have your weight, and you have your height. And that's what your agency, as your modeling agency, sends out to different clients. And then they look at your Z card and they figure out if they want to hire you for the job. So you have your height, like in my case, 5'7", and then my weight was 110 pounds. And in my mind, I had to stay at that 110 pounds. And so I was fixated and obsessed with the scale. And I would literally, weigh myself every morning. And if the scale was like 111 or 112, I would just be like, oh my God, I can't eat that thing, or I have to go sit in the sauna more, or whatever it was. It was just a crazy mind chatter that was always in the back of my mind. And I remember the day that I woke up and I thought, I am done weighing myself. Like, I was just so exhausted about just the overthinking around the number. I was just like, I've had it. Like, if I don't get a job, or if I'm not on that 110 on my Z card, then so be it. And so I remember that day, you guys, like, it was just, nothing had changed. There was nothing different in my life. I just felt like I was doing a lot more inner work on myself. I was, starting to love myself more, listen to my body more, carve out more like of me time. I was slowly but surely gaining more of a voice, an internal voice for myself. There was a lot more other things that I was doing that were kinder to myself. And so that was the day that I decided, no more scale. I'm done with this. And to this day, and that's been years, to this day, I don't own a scale. I don't really want to know what my weight is. I know how I feel. I feel good. My clothes fit me. I have no digestive issues, which I was having a lot of digestive issues at that time. All of those are gone. And I feel good. And so that's kind of the other thing that I wanted to share with you guys, because you have to get to a point in your lifestyle where you love yourself enough to choose healthier foods, or to ditch that scale and just really focus on how you feel. And so I'm going to get to the tips, but I just wanted to preface the show with that. Okay, so our studio chat changed. So I feel like I have to click here. There I go. Okay. Jesse, did you only eat eggs? Yes, I did. I ate eggs, Jesse, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like I said, I paired it with this tomato soup and like, I don't know, salad and like toast or something. But we did lose weight, by the way. We were definitely weighing ourselves daily, and we did lose weight on the scale. So yes. Okay, Lester, only eggs sounds like being hungry all the time. I don't even remember, Lester, if I was hungry or not. And I want to say probably at night. I think at night I probably wanted more food, but I'm kind of very headstrong. When I put my mind to something, I'm like, I'm gonna do this no matter what. So, so yeah, thank you for that comment. Larry, you look good. You don't look like you need to diet. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. Thank you for joining us again. I know I've seen your name every time I'm live, so I really appreciate the loyalty. So yeah, so let's get into the tips. And if you guys have any questions, like I said, comments, please don't hesitate to stop me here. So let's try to get through all 10. 2 weeks ago, I shared 8 tips, and I thought I was going to be able to get into more of my own self-care routine, and I wasn't able to. So let's see how we do today. We're going to get into these tips. So tip number 1 in weight loss is eat, believe it or not. When I shared the story when I was modeling and how I would be fixated on this number of 110 pounds. And I can tell you right now that I was, to Lester's point of being hungry, I was hungry a lot trying to stay at that 110 pounds. And I just said, I was having a lot of digestive issues that I really won't get into on this episode, maybe another show, but I was under eating and I was doing hot yoga. I was a runner back then. I still do hot yoga today, but at that time I was running. At one point I had a personal trainer. And so I was really putting myself through a lot of stress during exercise. And then I wasn't feeding my body what it needed. I was just, like I said, fixated on the number. So my first tip, with all that said, is to eat. Because what I've learned now is that when you undereat, your body goes into starvation mode. And then it goes into fight or flight, which is a stress response, because it thinks it's starving. So undereating is no bueno. Feed your body good food. And I've talked about this last show. I feel like, and this is again after years of learning what the body wants and needs, I feel like breakfast is one of the most important meals. So if you can get breakfast down, I get it. If you're running around during the day, maybe take some snacks, but at least your body knows, okay, I'm going to have that meal in the morning, and then I'm going to run around all day or work. Then I'm going to go to the gym after work, and I'm going to maybe have some snacks during the day. And then at night, I'm going to have dinner. So it's like telling your body, like, hey, you're going to be fed. So that's my first tip, is to eat. Number 2, weight loss tip is balance. So try to have balance in everything. I just said I'm not on a diet. If I want a piece of chocolate, I'm going to have it. If I want a bite or 2 of cheesecake, I'm going to have that, which is rare. I'll tell you that right now. But like 2 weeks ago, I went to dinner with my dad at a really nice, beautiful restaurant. And we were celebrating one of his friends' birthdays. And I had a great meal. And then cheesecake came to the table, and everybody shared a couple bites. And it's like, That's okay, you know? So balance, you guys, balance it out. You know, when you're having the whole bag of chips versus a couple chips, you know, when you're having 5 sodas versus 1 soda, which I don't recommend drinking soda, but if you're going to have it in balance. Okay. And that's moderation with everything, right? Exercise, don't be extreme. Again, I just shared, I used to be super extreme with everything. And now I'm just like, balance it out. I don't have to exercise every day, every other day, every couple days. And if I don't get to my workout for 2 to 3 days, it's amazing because it's like, I'm so ingrained with the exercise piece. It's like I've also learned along the way that when I give my body like a 3-day rest and I get back into like my hot yoga, for example, I feel so much more stronger and connected. And it makes such a difference. So balance will help lose weight, lose the weight. Number 3 is walking. Walking is amazing. So if you don't like going to the gym, if you don't like strenuous exercise, maybe take up walking. And what I wrote on my notes was cross crawl walking. So I'm going to try to walk you guys through this. So let's say you're going to go for a walk. You want to start off with your right leg and your left arm. So you're walking with the right leg first and the left arm first. And then you're going to switch. And it's like it's called the cross crawl walk. And it's like an intentional walk. So then you go from your right arm to your left leg. And so that's what it's all about. You can Google this. But what it does is it also balances your brain. And when your brain's balanced, things in your body get balanced. The organs move with more energy. You have a relaxation in your body. And cross crawl walking is amazing for stress relief, for burning calories, for calming your mind down. There's just so many benefits from walking, even if you don't do the cross crawl walking. So I highly recommend walking as a weight loss tip. Okay, number 4. Okay, so number 4 is make dinner your lightest meal. So that's why I really encourage breakfast because, for example, my normal routine, if I'm not going out to dinner, I will have breakfast. I will have probably a snack after after I do my workout. And then I'll make lunch my largest meal. And sometimes I don't eat lunch till 3-4 o'clock, right? And then I'll have a snack right before dinner, and that'll be something small. It could be a yogurt. It could be a handful of nuts. It could be some crackers with some almond butter. It could be a protein drink. I mean, there's just so much you can do right before dinner. But if you're someone that is needing to lose weight, I highly recommend making dinner your smallest meal because you will sleep better through the night, which when you sleep, you burn fat and calories. And you will also, your digestion will work better if you go to bed on somewhat of an empty stomach, not full empty stomach, because then you're hungry and you won't be able to sleep. Okay, so make dinner your lightest meal. That's my number 4 tip. Number 5, keep your stress low. You guys, this is like, so by the way, none of these tips are in order. Okay, so I didn't number them in priority. I just was like writing for the show off the top of my head. But if I could number these in priority, I think keeping stress low would be number 1. because when your stress level is high, your cortisol is up, your adrenaline is high, you're in fight or flight mode, and it's much easier to keep weight on, especially around your tummy area, because think of it like this. Your body, when you're in stress or high stress periods in your life, your body thinks that a bear is in the room. Like it literally thinks that it's in an emergency mode. And so it will hold on to water. It will hold on to extra fat because it's trying to protect itself. So whatever you can do to just create stress relief tips in your life, or I should say like anything you can do to bring your stress level down is always a good idea. I've talked about this so much, I feel, on the podcast. You can take a bubble bath at night, use magnesium to like relax in your bath. You know, put magnesium salts in there. If you don't have that, put sea salt in your bath. I think I've mentioned that several times. Walking is amazing. Even after dinner, that's highly recommended if you can do that. And just also as another side tip, if you don't have the time to like carve out an hour for working out or exercise, try walking even 10-15 minutes after a meal. So like, let's say you eat breakfast, you don't work till 2 or even the evening or whatever, you get up early, you eat something at 6:30, 6:30 in the morning, you're up, you're eating breakfast at 7:30, you go for a mini 15-minute walk, come back, finish your routine, go to work, come back home, do your routine, eat your dinner, and then walk another 10-15 minutes. That's better than nothing. That's a good stress relief type of routine that's easy to incorporate. So being in rest and digest mode is the ultimate goal for weight loss and just feeling happy and alive in your body, because when we're stressed, our mind is crazy and we can't think presently. We're thinking about the future, we're thinking about the past, and we're not present. So stress relief, you guys, is number 5 and number 1 in priority, like I said. Okay, number 6, do something fun, joyful, that makes you happy. And I noted this, do something fun and joyful that makes you happy, especially when you're in a relationship. Why do I say that? Because what I've learned along the way and from a lot of things that I've observed, especially for women, is that we tend to lose ourselves when we're in relationship. And when we lose ourselves in relationship, we are not connected to what our body is trying to talk to us about. We're not connected to the little signals of our body when we lose ourselves in relationship. So if we're hungry and we're so lost in this relationship with a man, because I'm talking to women at this point, but it can go either way. But let's just hypothetically talk about a woman that is trying to impress a man with her looks, let's just say, and she's not listening to her body. She's going to lose herself, and she's either going to gain weight or she's going to lose weight that she does not need to lose. And she's going to be unhealthy. And then that's when the whole issues come up with the internal organs. I talked about the digestive system because that was my experience. So going back to the tip, and my point is, do something that makes you happy and joyful, especially when you're in relationship. We're talking about weight loss, but at the end of the day, it's really about feeling good in your body. No matter what the scale number says, it's really about feeling good in the body and listening to what the body needs. And when we're happy and when we're doing something that lights us up and that we're really excited about for ourselves, for our own soul, for our own heart, not anybody else, the body will balance out just naturally because you're in your zone. You know, you're lighting yourself up. You know deep down inside, if that relationship went away or that person went away at some point, that you'd be okay because you found this thing, you discovered this thing that makes you so lit up and happy, and you turned yourself on. In other words, you're like, you know what? I care for this person. I love this person, but I love myself first. And I'm going to continue to do these things that make me happy. And so I wanted to incorporate that tip with this whole weight loss and wellness conversation and self-care because it's super important, you guys. It's super important to figure that out. And if you haven't figured out what lights you up, then that's your homework. You have homework from my show. So yeah. So anyways, that's number 6. Do something that lights you up, that you can just get lost in. It will prevent you from binging or overeating or even undereating. You'll just feel this balance, this natural balance that comes over, and you'll be more connected to your body, and that's what we want. So number 6. Okay. Number 7 is feel your feelings. This is huge, huge when it comes to feeling good in our body. We want to feel our feelings. Just last night, I was on the phone with my girlfriend. I've talked about her before. Her name's Jade. Well, I call her Jade. Her real name's Stephanie. And we were talking, and we were both kind of like feeling bummed out, just about some other things that are going on in our life. And I said to her, you know what? If you feel sad, then just be sad. And I reminded my own self, like, if I'm bummed out, I'm just going to be bummed out. Because when we try to run from our feelings, that's when we get into trouble. We turn to the food, we turn to the alcohol, we turn to that antidepressant or whatever the band-aid is, the relationship, talking about relationships, right? We turn to that when we're not feeling our feelings. And so this is super important to get a mentor, find somebody to talk to figure out what's happening with your feelings. Especially if you're a woman, check out my website, jennalobos.com. I have different programs that I offer. I have a blog that I have other blogs that I've written around feelings on there, but this is a super important tip. Feel your feelings, because we don't want to run away from them and binge eat or starve ourselves or go back to that thing that we know deep down in our gut is not important to, or not good for us, but we want to like feel better in the moment. So it's like that instant high or that instant band-aid that makes us feel good. And so we want to run away from the sadness. We want to run away from the loneliness. We want to run away from just feeling bummed out. So just feel your feelings, you guys. It's super easy. And like I said, if you can't do it alone, get a mentor, get somebody to talk to, call your mom, call your dad, call a friend, call your sister, call somebody that you feel safe with. So, journaling. I always say this, journal your feelings. If you can't talk to anybody or if you don't feel comfortable, journal your feelings. It's you and you alone. Like I always say, jennalobos.com. I have free journaling prompts on my website. So check those out. So that was number 7. Okay. I'll take a question here. Francis, most people forget to feel or they are scared. Yes. Thank you, Francis. They are. Feelings can be really intense. And sometimes we don't really know what's going on a deeper level. And that's why I always encourage you to talk to somebody, because sometimes it's just about having another ear to hear what we're saying, and then having that third person or that second person point something out to us that gives us a different perspective on our feelings. And most of the time, if we're feeling scared or like fearful, most of the time it's about returning to love. Most of the time, or I should say all of the time, it's about returning to love. And I'm talking about self-love in this moment. I'm talking about connecting to our body, connecting to those little signals that say, hey, I'm not in a good relationship, or hey, I need to change my job. I'm not feeling comfortable with these people anymore. They're not in alignment with who I am anymore. Hey, I'm not feeling this, whatever, 6 Diet Cokes in a day is really serving me anymore. Maybe this is, giving me more anxiety than I need, whatever it is. So the feelings part is huge, because we need to really understand ourselves and hear our body and understand our body and what it's trying to tell us. So thank you for that, Francis. It can be scary to feel the feelings, but I encourage you, because on the other side of that, it's freedom. It really is. It's freedom. It's like once you know yourself on a deeper level and could hear what you want and need and have the courage to make hard choices, or different choices, I should say. They're not always hard. There's so much freedom in that, you guys. And I just encourage it. So yeah. So number 9 is food combining. This is, I did a whole show on food combining at one point, I believe. So go back in the archives. You can Google Jenna Lobos, Love Your Body, Love Your Life, food combining on YouTube. I'll break it down as simple as I can right now. But I really believe in this because it is better on the digestive system. And we're talking about weight loss and wellness. And so we want an easier we want our body to digest foods easier. We don't want to give it more work than it needs, basically. So food combining is protein with veggies, no starches. So example, salmon with vegetables, no baked potato. Or if you're going to have a carb meal, baked potato and all veggies. You can have bread, but no animal protein or no protein. The other thing with food combining is no dairy and eat fruit alone. So I'm going to give you an example of what a day would be with food combining. You have berries in the morning, fruit alone. You can obviously have your tea or your coffee with those berries. 3 hours later, you can have eggs and bacon if you wanted to. And then 3 hours later, you could have a banana. That would be fruit. And then 3 hours to 4 hours after that, you could do a baked potato and all vegetables. That would be food combining. Again, I did a whole episode on this. You guys can Google that. Love Your Body, Love Your Life. Jenna Lobos, food combining. You can also Google this. There's so much evidence on food combining. So, yes, Janice says, good choices. Thank you. Yes, let's make good choices. Okay, number 10. We got to all of these. Number 10 is ingredients. I highly recommend you just pay attention to ingredients. This comes with a lot of learning, you guys. This would be a whole show, literally a whole show, me talking about ingredients, right? But what I want to say here is the less ingredients on the box or the milk container, for example, is better. So think about one ingredient food choices. So for example, avocado, butter, eggs, bread, lettuce, salmon. These are all one word food choices, right? If you go and you look at or milk, let's just say, if you go and look at the milk carton, you're going to see non-fat milk, but you're going to see all these other ingredients that are on that label. So I recommend that you find a milk. Like, I'll give you an example. I use a brand called Malk, M-A-L-K. It's a non-dairy milk, and it has, I believe, 4 ingredients in there. It's just non-dairy milk, so it's almonds, almonds. It's made out of almonds, so it's almonds, water, Himalayan salt, and I think that's it, actually. So I think there's only 3 ingredients. Now, you don't have to go out and buy Malk, that specific brand, unless you want to. They sell it at Whole Foods, by the way. There's a Mother's Market, if there's a Mother's Market near you. If there's a Sprouts near you. If you have a Gelson's in your area, any of those, I know they sell Malk. But here's my point. Try to stay away from gums, G-U-M-S, gums. Just look for like long titles of ingredients. Those are the things that you want to stay away from in your body. Those are unnatural sources. And that's what I'm talking about here. At the end of the day, you guys, our body really craves the natural sources of whatever it's naturally producing in our body. It just wants more of that. So if we are always on the lookout for something like a quick fix, the big talk right now is these peptides and like the injections and all these other things that are on the market, which, no judgment. If anybody wants or feels like they need to put those things in their body for weight loss, like Ozempic, let's say, or all these other injections, again, no judgment. If that's the route that you feel is good for you, then have at it, because I'm all about you feeling good about yourself at the end of the day. But what I'm talking about here is encouraging you to really sort out these natural choices in wellness, in weight loss, in feeling your best, because it's really beauty from the inside out. at the end of the day. And when you're feeling good in your body and you're joyful and you're happy and you're feeding your body these natural sources of food and whole foods every day, you're going to glow naturally. So that's kind of what I encourage. So hopefully those tips helped. Let's see what Victor says. Victor, if you can't say it, don't eat it. Exactly. Thank you, Victor. Yes, we're talking about ingredients. So yes, thank you, Victor, for pointing that out. If you can't say it on the label, don't eat it. And it's better. I think I've mentioned this on another show as well. Like, try to shop around the perimeter of the grocery store. And most of the time, those will be the best foods, the perimeter of the grocery store. If you go in all the aisles, that's when you get a lot of the packaged foods and the, just a lot more, just, I guess, packaged foods. We want to stay away from that as much as possible. Like I said, everything in moderation. If you drive through fast food every once in a while, then enjoy it. At least enjoy it. Don't ever judge yourself for falling off the wagon or anything like that. Just, that's the other thing. If you are in complete non-judgment, even of the way you feel, if you are feeling sad one day and you have a hamburger or you have some French fries or whatever it is, please, you guys, I encourage, don't judge yourself, because that's going to actually compound you feeling bad. And that's what I'm just trying to say here is that's the whole goal, is to feel good, feel good in your body, feel good in your physical body, and feel good in your emotional body, and feel good in your mental body. And I think that's what I summed up here, taking myself into accountability. There was a lot of mental overthinking when I tried to stay on that number, right? At the 110 pounds. That's all I could think about. I thought, if I don't stay at the 110 pounds, I'm not going to get that modeling job. And then it's like a snowball effect, right? So mental health right there. And then I was, obviously, because I wasn't in my mental right frame of mind, of course, I was attracting relationships that were going to mirror that frame of mind back to me. That, like, always putting myself down, always looking at that scale, always nitpicking myself physically, right? I was going to attract that relationship in my life, which I did several times. I had to learn my lesson several times in that area of my life, where these men were just going to come and just mirror what I was already feeling about myself. And so that takes into accountability the emotional piece, right? So I had to get that straight. And then when I got the mental health straight, the emotional health on board with me loving myself just a little bit more every single day, because I can tell you right now, it doesn't come easy. It's just little droplets of self-care every single day that you can just think of it like an actual little pebble in your little vase. Every day you drop a pebble in. Oh, okay. Like my friend Jade says, that was my win today. That was my little self-care pebble that I dropped in today. I did something for myself today. And this has been ongoing for myself for a long, long time. And so every single day you drop in that self-care pebble and you change the mental conversation in your own mind. That drops into the emotional body. Okay, I love myself a little more today. I'm not perfect. I'm never going to be perfect, but okay, I'm not going to judge myself for this or whatever it is. And it's just, you naturally pick these different choices in foods. You naturally pick the different choices in relationship, and you naturally just pick better life choices all around. So yes, if you guys don't have any other questions or comments, that's basically what I hope you guys can take away from the show. Again, spring is on its way. We're already going to be in March. I can't believe it. So let's start out 2026 March with some good self-care, better choices all around. And yeah, until next time, love your body and love your life. Bye.